Hello everyone! For this video I'm pretty excited because I'm going to get to do something I don't normally do, which is show annotations from both sides, due to the fact that this player that sent in this game sent in a game that I played against them. So that's kind of nice. I also will get to put one of my games up, so that's good. So, let's go ahead and let's get into this. I'm playing as the white pieces, and my opponent is the black pieces, and they're playing as, let's see, they're rated 1333. Okay. E46, E45 French defense, and we have the burn variation. Let's get into this. So this is the series recommendation from Ginger GM, and so due to the fact that they're using this series recommendation, it's really like I'm playing against a Grandmaster, because it's the Grandmaster's analysis, so that's makes it more difficult for me. Okay, A6 with the intention of playing B5 and Bishop B7, so I play C4, and which not allowing this to happen. I actually had considered also, though, just maybe going G3 and Bishop G2 was another thing I had considered. But C4 just gains some space and just says, let's just play that way. Okay, F5, kicking away my knight from the center. Now the bishop can come to F6, start looking on its nice diagonal. We are getting a really imbalanced game as well because of the way black played early on, with taking on the doubled pawns, but in exchange it gives the bishop pair, and so that's what black is really going to get out of this. And black gets some nice activity based off of the way that it's played. The king side is a little bit weaker, obviously, because of this, but black gets fair compensation for those moves and taking on the weakened structure. Okay, let's go ahead. C5. Black is okay with the sacrifice of the pawn, because let's just take a look at one thing that can happen if taking. And I don't really know that these triple pawns are so great. This is one possibility. And there are other possibilities that can happen as well if taking. But the point is these tripled pawns or doubled pawns or whatever I wind up with are not so great. And so the sacrifice really is worth it, I think. And it seems like this move is I like it. Okay, C5, D5, because I didn't want to accept that. I didn't like that. I say I'd much rather play something much more like this, where we have to deal with some weakened pawns, and it's a little bit more simple, I think. Knight C6, Rook D1, Bishop E6, B3. I can't contest the bishop, so just try to get everything off of the bishop's diagonal, so it's not attacking anything. Okay, the annotation from black. I'm not scared to go into the end game, which should be promising for black. All of these trades will be losing a pawn, but thought that there would be compensation, which definitely looks like there's some compensation to me, because that bishop on G7 looks great, and it also looks like the white pieces are not going to be as active as the black pieces, and let's see how that turns out. We're going to see in a few moves that black really does get some quick activity after this. Both rooks come to center files, and my bishop, is getting hit, has to retreat. Black is getting time. Black moves the knight to C3 so that I don't take the knight with the bishop, obviously. I mean, I would like to get rid of my bishop for that knight if I can in some way, or maybe just take it, because just taking the knight would be excellent for me. Or maybe if say something like the rook comes, one of these rooks come down, probably this one, because the other rook would get taken by the knight, just defend, and then I would get rid of the bishop, which I'm fine with exchanging off the pieces. Okay, rook e2, an annotation from black. I should have delayed the activity one more move. And I agree with that because in the game, we're losing the h-pawn. But if you play h6 and you get your rooks to the 7th rank, being down one pawn, but having your rooks on the 7th and lots of activity, I think that black is still pretty decent. I think that it's not lost yet or anything. And the activity should be enough for one pawn. But when we put the second pawn on, it becomes a little bit more difficult. 2 pawns for a little bit of activity is not quite as much. But just for the 1 pawn, I think that black was still doing quite well. Okay, rook d5. Rook d7, defending the 7th rank. And that's excellent because my next move I was planning on doing was rook c7. So that stops what I wanted. Another possibility black could have considered was playing b5, just getting the pawns off of the 7th rank. And saying that if the rook comes to c7, it's not really going to be doing very much. Okay, rook c8 check, king e7, bishop f5, attacking the rook. So rook d1, annotation from black. I thought that trading would make my knight support the attack of the f-pawn. Although trading is not the best of ideas in this position. Okay, so it does help attack the pawn. It doesn't quite work out exactly, though, as we're going to see in the variations. The other thing is, you are right. If you're down a pawn, usually it's not a good idea to be exchanging off the pieces a lot of the times. Let's take a look. Rook takes, knight takes, king f1. This is the trick to why the attacking the f-pawn doesn't work out quite as well, because let's take a look at what happens if rook takes f2, king e1, and that's the point. Alright, so after king f1, rook a2, noticing that it doesn't work out, so not played, we're smart. Rook c7, king f6, bishop c8, trying to go after the pawns. Rook a1 threatening a scover check, so I don't let that happen. I don't want to do that. Knight c3, king d3, knight d1, trying to go after the pawn, black says. So yeah, black gets that pawn, but I get the b7 pawn. One thing that I really notice about this is black's pieces are actually pretty well coordinated throughout this endgame. The pieces have been very active. And the white pieces have been kind of like fumbling around. And that's one thing. Is yes, I have the extra pawns, but it's been a little bit less easy for me to find good squares for my pieces throughout the majority of this endgame. That's something that we really see. And I watched a series from Alyssa Malakina. She actually has a nice series where she talks about piece coordination and how that's a big part of your game. And we actually see that that's working pretty good for black in this endgame when down a pawn. Because my king has to like run around. He's not like securely just placed, and he's just kind of running around a lot of the time. Yeah, rook takes. And black is kind of compelled to take there. Also, the black knight has been very tricky. And black was trying to create some type of perpetual, but I didn't let that happen. Okay. Bishop takes a6, yeah, because the exchange is more or less compelled. And the exchanges have been slowly coming, and now we're starting to get to a point where these pawns are going to start to take over. Okay. Knight f2 check. Black doesn't want to resign because he said he wanted to play on and see what I do. And that's a great idea, is if you're playing somebody that's a stronger opponent, and it's not like you're just lost immediately, like down the queen or something, and it's not like an easy just algorithm mate. Seeing how your opponent slowly builds a win is a great way to improve, because there is still a little bit of work that needs to be done. It doesn't like, it's not like I'm just checkmating in a few moves. Like I still have to press a little bit, because, you know, there's opposite colored bishops involved, which makes it more difficult to win. I don't mind the knight taking the bishop, obviously. No bishops of opposite color after that. It'll be easy. Okay, after this, there's going to be a force of a trade. And if knight takes and king takes, then again, there's still bishops of opposite color, but it'll eventually be a win. Okay, and after this, black resigns. So yeah, this was an interesting game. Lots of fun stuff happening. And lots of cool things, you know, imbalances and lots of fun stuff. And a nice end game. So yeah, thank you for sending this game. I hope that lots more games get sent in, and that I get to do lots more analysis. And I hope that everybody, you know, watches these videos. Alright, thanks, bye.